everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, August 13th, 2017. It seems to me that we are starting to witness Graham's fall from grace. He was Deena's golden boy, and now all of a sudden there is a complete shift in the way that Deena treats him, and it almost seems like there is a shift in the way that the audience is supposed to see him. This week, by suggesting that Deena sell her company and retire, Jack and Ashley are implying that Graham is controlling and isolating Deena, and we started to see little hints of that. Deena is so bored that she has to fill her time by going to the mall. The mall, you guys. Can you believe that? What fresh hell is this? I have to go to the mall and shop with my millions and billions of dollars? I don't know if anyone's been to the mall lately. I mean, they're not that exciting, I'll give her that, but for crying out loud, the way it just seemed like, ugh, the mall, like a commoner. Oh, I loved her little hat and sunglasses, though. That was a funny sequence. I don't know if I'm completely ready to cast Graham as a villain, though. I feel like Y&R's maybe starting to show us little points where we could interpret that, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to interpret that. Are you? I think that's a good place for us to put a poll question this week. See what's everybody getting from Graham's vibe. Do you think that Graham is an overall good guy? Or is Graham pushing into no-goodnick villain territory? Go to yrchat.com if you want to give me your sense of Graham this week. Where do you think we are? What do you think his real intentions are? Do you trust him? I mean, can we take what he says at face value? I think that Y&R has been riding the fence a little bit with a lot of characters lately. We've been talking about that for weeks, and I think Graham is also a really good example about that. I think that he could have gone either way within the past, month or two, and I think maybe now Y&R is ready to pick a direction, and I suppose we'll just see where that goes, but I'd like to get your predictions on Graham this week. Ashley went to go see Neil this week to see if she could maybe negotiate to get Deena a position at her former company that's been sold to Hamilton Winters. Did anybody else pick up on some, I don't know, chemistry between Ashley and Neil? I really liked the scene between Ashley and Neil. Even if it's just friendship, I thought that they played really well off of each other. These are two characters who are veterans, to the show. So it was nice to see them interacting and chatting. I'd love to see more Ashley and Neil. Of course, Neil doesn't want Deena breathing down his neck at his company any more than Ashley does. I thought it was funny that Ashley did everything she could do to try to get, find something for Deena, a project for Deena, without actually bringing Deena into Jabot, without actually bringing Deena into her everyday life. But Jack thinks it's a great idea to have Deena at Jabot. Not only does it work for him, but he really believes that it's what John would want. Do you guys agree? There was a little bit of discussion between Jack and Ashley about whether John would welcome Deena with open arms into Jabot. I would say if it's true that, as Jack implied a couple of months ago, that John would have welcomed Deena back into the house, into the home, maybe even into a relationship at any point, then I suppose that he would have wanted her to come work at Jabot. I don't see any harm at it with it right now. I don't think that it's disrespectful to John's memory in any way, and yet I can see how Ashley would have some reservations about it, although I I think it's mostly selfish. I think mostly Ashley just doesn't want Deena hovering. She has reached out to her mother. They are starting to build a relationship, but that doesn't mean she's ready for that level of intimacy. Still, it's a big building. You'd think that they could find something for Deena to do, create a position that works for her, and reluctantly, Ashley does agree to it. Jack goes to Deena and offers her the position. She jumps at the idea. Well, first, of course, she played it off like, well, I don't want your charity. I don't want you to pity me. And as soon as he said all of the right things, she got a big old smile on her face. I think it was the biggest smile we've seen on her face in weeks. And she happily accepts the new position, the new opportunity, a new direction for her life. And I thought it really made sense for her. I understood when she was talking to Graham and saying, maybe I miss having a home. Maybe I miss having a kitchen. Maybe I don't want to live in a hotel and just fill my time with shopping. So I thought it was a great moment for her. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of nuance from her now that she's not quite so isolated. But Graham did party poop the idea pretty quickly. He didn't like the idea of her going to work with Jack and Ashley at Chabot. Why? Why? What does he know that we don't know? Is there something about her emotional or mental or physical state that she requires care where this would be dangerous for her? We've speculated for quite a while about her potentially having Alzheimer's or dementia. Or was this relationship between Deena and Graham purely a mutually beneficial type of arrangement where she gets the attention, he gets the money? I'm wondering, what is it about this that really bothers him so much? When he agreed to stay in Genoa City, he agreed to let her develop this relationship with the family. I don't know why he's changing now. What is it that's dangerous about her taking this job? The only thing I can think is that maybe he knows that he was always kind of just a surrogate for her family, and now that she's back with her family, maybe he realizes that she doesn't need him, or maybe he fears that she's going to start to not need him. I think that it's gotta be clear to him that he's being emotionally frozen out by her. She's not lavishing attention upon him. She's not saying that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So that has to make him feel a little bit insecure, right? Deena arrives for her first day on the job like a queen arriving to her throne. It was hilarious. First of all, I was kind of annoyed though that Jack insisted that Ashley had to be present to welcome Deena into the company, even though Ashley had other plans. The Abbott cabin is not just for Jack and Billy to have their hanky-panky. Ashley is allowed to have hanky-panky there too. Oh my gosh, she invites Robbie to go up to the cabin with her. They have a plan. They're gonna like hang out on the lake. Robbie's all excited for water sports. I mean, he's just so cute, being just excited, just in it, just wanting to do something with Ashley. Just being with her seems to be the light of his day. He had absolutely no expectation, I don't think, that it was going to turn into an overnight trip, but Ashley heavily implied to him that, they might stay up there after the day is done. He was very, very happy about that. That kind of, she kind of said it and then walked away, and I think it left him with this a sense of just happy anticipation, which I also feel right now, because I definitely think that Ashley is going to let Robbie ravish her. And I can't wait to see it. I just hope that Deena doesn't show up there, like get chauffeured up to the cabin just to provide Ashley and Robbie with her dinner order or something. Like the way she did when she arrived at Gibeau. The second she walked in the door, she was telling Gloria how she takes her coffee. I love the look on Gloria's face. I love this situation for Gloria too. I love that Gloria is realizing that she's being edged out by all of these other women in Jack's life, and it's kind of the same way that Graham is being edged out of Deena's life. So Gloria is definitely going to be getting revenge on Deena, at the very least, by having this relationship with Graham, and Gloria is going to be providing Graham at his request with a spying eye at Gibeau. He asked Gloria if she can keep an eye on Deena at Gibeau and kind of report back to him. I suppose, if I were to guess, Graham is hoping probably that Deena's not going to get a wild hair and decide to write him out of the will, because wills can be changed and Deena can be impulsive. I mean, I really, really like Deena's character. I think it's so easy to compare her to like the Grand Dame Catherine Chancellor of Genoa City, but they're really nothing alike. Deena can be I think she can be impulsive. She can be bratty. I mean, Catherine never acted like that. Deena's like her own, she's got her own personality going on, and it's such a pleasure to watch. Just that she is bratty sometimes, and she can turn it on a dime. Sometimes she seem wise, and then sometimes she's defiant and childlike, and it just, I don't know, I like it, but I wouldn't want to be around her. I mean, she just acts like such a brat sometimes. When she came in and told Jack, who's trying to give her everything, rolling out the red carpet for her at Gibeau, she tells him that she's not happy with her office accommodations. Her office faces east, okay? That means the sun is going to be in her eyes all morning long. Unacceptable. Oh, I love it. I mean, because all of that being said about Deena, I love seeing and feeling the family dynamic playing out in the hallways at Gibeau. It's fantastic. I'd love to know, what exactly is the appropriate cardinal direction for your office, Deena? Can you give us the GPS coordinates that you'd like to have? Deena makes known her disapproval of Jack and Nikki's relationship. She said, you know what, Jack, I'm gonna tell you what I think. I may very well be your employee while I'm at your office, but I am your mother all the time. My opinion as far as your mother goes matters all the time. I thought that was such a great line, such a great comeback. I mean, Jack is a grown man. He does not need his mommy's approval on who he's dating, although I think he wants it. I think he wants his mother's approval very much so. And I wonder if that's going to come into play when it comes to Nikki and Jack's relationship. It is certainly none of Deena's business who Jack dates, but at the same time, I also don't blame her for her concern. Nikki and Jack, first of all, couldn't make it work in the past. They've been married 2 other times and it never worked out. And it seems to have been a combination of Nikki's forever evolving relationship with Victor alongside Jack and his pride, which always gets in his way of everything he does. Jack's pride, Jack's need for revenge against Victor or against whoever, Jack's need and drive for success, all of those things always end up coming in between them. And I can see both of those factors still in play to this very day. When it comes to Nikki, her relationship with Victor, when it comes to Jack, his pride, his need for revenge and success, all of that is still on the table. So I'm not sure why it's going to be any different of a result this time than it would be with the other two marriages they've had in the past. I feel like it's very much in Jack's character that he is always going to lose. I just feel like that's a part of who he is. He's always going to shoot himself in the foot. Jack is always going to lose, just like Victor is always going to win. I think that Jack just always gets in his own way. Last week we did a poll where I asked you guys, do you think that Nikki and Jack have a real chance at a relationship, a romance this time? 52% of you said yes. Bring on the Nikki and Jack. That's still a pretty darn close vote, though. There were a lot of votes in this one, and pretty much half of you said yes, and half of you said no. 48% said dream on. Nikki and Jack will never make it work. I will admit, as a forever Nikki and Victor sucker, I voted no, that they don't have a chance for romance. But I know that I'm obviously in the minority here. Here's my argument. I feel like a really good representation of it happened this week. Nikki goes out of her way to go to Victor's office to inform him of her new address. Okay, she's moved out of the ranch. She's living in a hotel, and she goes there for the sole purpose of telling him that she wants to give him her new address. Why bother to go to Victor to tell him this information if she's not seeking attention from him? If Nikki is really done with Victor, then be done. You don't need to inform him of every little move that you're making. Okay, I understand. You share children, but they're adult children, okay? They're not babies. You're not forced into each other's life if you don't want to be. I feel like Nikki could easily cut Victor out of her life. She could have nothing more to do with him. It does not require a personal trip to his office to let him know your new address so that he can send you a birthday card, okay? All of this can be done through a third party. So why does she do it? Is she looking for signs that Victor still cares for her? I feel like it was attention seeking, and I feel like she kind of wants to know if Victor still loves her. Well, of course he does. He already said that. They shared this wonderful moment after the concert where it was like a coming together, a magical fireworks moment. He said that he loved her. He said that he loved her as she was breaking up with him. The love is not in question. It's never been in question. Nikki and Victor's relationship hinges always on whether or not Nikki is choosing to accept the man that Victor is at that very moment. The man that Victor is, the man that he was, the man that he will always will be. Can you live with it, Nikki? That's the only question. Decide. If the answer is yes, I can live with Victor's BS for the rest of my life, then stop playing games with Jack, stop playing games with Victor, and just go be with Victor. If the answer is no, that you want to be done with Victor, then be done with Victor. You don't need to go to his office. You don't need to have any more interaction with him. I think that it speaks volumes that Nikki and Victor are both calling it a separation. Okay, well, if Nikki's so serious about moving on with her life, why hasn't she just filed for divorce? Like Nikki, Nick is also still, he's reaching out for independence from Victor. That's his goal. And like Nikki, there's no halfway. You're either in with Victor and in with the whole Newman thing, or you're out. And that's really how it should be. Nick sees that. He fires the family financial advisor, gets a new guy, and he's able to purchase his first location for his new underground expansion in Ann Arbor, Michigan. A new underground is coming at you, Ann Arbor. Are there any viewers in Ann Arbor who are looking forward to going downtown and kicking back a couple of drinks at the underground? Congratulations for you guys. So with the strain on Nick's relationship with his father, as usual, he is concerned about how Faith is going to handle this. It is always about Faith. Never forget it. And for some fun, Chelsea decided to work with Nick to repaint and redecorate Faith's room from a little girl room to a young woman room. Oh, they're prepping us for Faith being aged. There's no doubt about it. We've been seeing in pictures on the mantle for weeks now, and all of a sudden she's getting a big girl bedroom, even if we never see it. And even if Faith is not aged in weeks or months, it is coming. And I would guess that it's probably coming sooner rather than later. It was a cute scene of Chelsea with the paint on her face. Yet at the same time, I have been thinking for the past couple weeks that Chelsea's kind of boring me right now. That her and Nick are kind of boring right now. I mean, there's been probably 2 weeks where I've noted to myself that Chelsea's been on my screen, yet she really hasn't even been noteworthy enough to get a mention in Y&R Chat. So she just has kind of been boring. And then they had a shower sex scene. Nick and Chelsea decide to help her wash off that paint, and they do a really nice shower sex scene. I thought it was a great a little sequence. It had these voiceovers. I mean, they're like making love in the shower. It's getting all steamy, and there's these voiceovers of them talking about the love that they are starting to share for one another. And it was a new set, too. I don't think we've ever seen that shower. It's kind of weird that Nick and Chelsea got a shower on the same, I think, episode even, as Sharon got a new bathroom too. So Nick and Chelsea are having a shower, and Sharon is encouraging at her house Scott to shave his beard for his new job, or for his job and position as an executive at Newman Enterprises. They're going to be having these photos of all the new execs, and Sharon hands him a razor and says, I think you should shave the beard. I really smiled at that scene. I did have a big cheesy grin on my face during that, because she shaved him. I mean, and she was actually, it seemed to me anyway, I can't imagine it was some camera trick. It seemed like she was actually, they had the shaving cream on his face, and she actually shaved him right on the screen. I kind of liked it. I thought it was cute of them. And I will say, I love a beard. I do love a beard, but I thought he looked nice, kind of clean shaven, and I also really liked the whole shirtless look with just the suspenders. That was hot. I'm not gonna lie, I love suspenders. I love a guy that can pull off a suspenders kind of retro vibe, and he just looked sort of hot standing there shirtless with the suspenders over and the pants and his freshly shaven face. I thought it was kind of good. So anyway, back to Nick and Chelsea. Chelsea, just as she's putting her excellent decorating skills to the test on Faith's new room, I imagine that all of that has completely gone to waste, because Nick comes home for the day only to find people walking out of the tack house with his stuff. Victor kicks him out, packs up the boxes for him. Goodbye. You want to be independent from me, from the Newman family? Well, there you go. And I'm sure that Victor was very, very happy that he was able to be there when Nick came home only to find all of his stuff being hauled out of the house that he's lived in for years. I mean, Victor was standing back there in the shadows in the kitchen, just waiting for the exact right moment to reveal himself. Like, Victor, why don't you flick on a light or something? He was literally like, no, I'm gonna stand back here in the shadows. As soon as I hear Nick's car pull up, I'm gonna tell these movers to just like go out the door. Like he's waiting like, okay, now. And then the movers go out the door right as Nick's coming up, and then Victor's like waiting for his moment to reveal himself from the shadows. It was good though. I mean, it definitely had a dramatic effect. I can't imagine that Nick didn't see it coming. I mean, it would have to, right? He's living steps from Victor when they're in this war, this feud. I'm sure he saw that coming, and I'm sure that he's just gonna move right into Chelsea's condo. I wish they'd build Nick another house, though. I mean, I don't know if Nick and Chelsea are going to be long-term, but something about him living in the condo just doesn't quite feel right. Or maybe if they would get a house together. No, I don't know. I would like Nick to have his own house that reflects him. Victoria has her own doll house that reflects her. And that, see, I guess it bothers me too that the Tack House has always been one of my least favorite homes in Genoa City. They revamped it, they've expanded it and tried to make it more livable throughout the years, but there's just something about that house that I've never liked, and I think it never seemed to fit Nick living there. I kind of wish that Y&R would build Nick like a proper man cave. He's so sporty and manny, and I just like wish that we could see a house with Nick, or maybe he's got some trophies on the wall, like a man cave, like maybe some football stuff or basketball stuff or whatever. Like that would probably draw in some more male viewers too, right? Or just so that, just if Nick had a cool man cave. Listen up, Y&R, that's a darn good idea, don't you think? Speaking of sets, by the way, are we actually ever going to see the sweet new hotel that Nikki's staying at? I hate what's going on with Victoria. I hate it. I wish I knew definitively what Victoria's condition is. It has to be a concussion, right? Is that the problem? Or is it maybe one of those brain tumors that just makes you sleep with a guy and then spill all your company secrets and dance awkwardly at nightclubs and then it just goes away, dissipates? I've had one of those. Who hasn't, right? What was the dancing that she was doing? I mean, like that, it was like, it kind of reminded me of that Seinfeld episode where Elaine has her awkward Elaine dance. I mean, Victoria was trying so hard to let it loose and do her dance, and it was just awkward. Everybody was looking at her like, what? Who is this? What is this? Victoria got no rhythm. So at the beginning of the week, Victoria wakes up in Benjamin's bed and she doesn't remember anything that happened from the night, including how she even got there. She's got some flashes of memory from that will come to her later, but she really doesn't know what she did. I hate this. I hate that she's blipping out and just sleeping with this guy and letting him get all up in her business and her life. I hate it. She has to do this walk of shame down the stairs at the athletic club. Hilary sees her, totally figures it out, tells Jack, who tells Phyllis, and now Jack and Phyllis are in cahoots together to try to get to try to get Victoria and Benjamin together for, I guess, mutually beneficial purposes. Jack, it helps him as far as his company, and Phyllis, it helps her as far as getting Victoria out of the way so she can pursue her relationship with Billy. I did have a thought this week, though. Jack and Phyllis were having that little meeting where they're kind of in cahoots, and Billy comes up and he sort of smooches Phyllis on the cheek, and it's just like, it has to be hard for Jack to accept the fact that Billy and Phyllis are together, to see his brother with his ex-wife, and to think about the affair. I don't know, there was a moment where I just realized that's got to be really disdainful for him. But, then again, I suppose he's kind of letting all of this into his life, and I don't know, do you think Jack wants Phyllis back at all? I kind of wonder. I sort of think I think he does. I think if Jack had a chance to get back together with Phyllis, I think he would do it. But anyway, Jack decides that he's gonna be his little devilish Jack self, and he sends flowers to Victoria that are addressed from Ben. So Victoria thinks that she had this one night stand with this guy, but that he really likes her and he sent her flowers. And I do think that Ben really likes her on some level. And I think also that Victoria is feeling confused in her life. If she's having these blackouts, I don't know why she wouldn't go to the doctor. That makes no sense to me. She already went to the doctor once. Why not follow up? Why does the doctor not insist on a follow-up? I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. The only thing I can imagine is that she is just trying real hard to move on with her life. I think maybe she is trying to go against her normal instincts and try to at least accept a date with this guy. She seemed kind of excited about it too, and that adds an extra level of sadness for me, at least. Like, she goes to Chelsea and she asks Chelsea if she has a new dress for her date, and there's just something about Victoria that seemed like she was really trying to embrace a new attitude. And there was something even about the Benjamin Hockman guy where he seemed like he was really smitten with Victoria. Like, you know, even though I don't like this couple, I don't like how it's all started, they both genuinely seemed interested in each other. And then Jack comes along. Jack has a little meeting with Benjamin and offers him a deal. Says that you're gonna, you know, Ben, you're gonna gain a really powerful ally if you can get close to Victoria and feed back some of her company secrets to me. I don't even understand why Benjamin would accept that deal in the first place. I mean, does he need an ally? Does he need any money? I mean, he's an investor. He has plenty of money to give away. It can't be about money. How great of an ally is Jack Abbott that you would do this to a woman, that you would do this to a person? And furthermore, the bigger issue, does Jack really need to jeopardize his new relationship with Nikki just to get company secrets from Brash and Sassy when they're failing anyway? See, once again, Jack Abbott always gets in his own way. Jack Abbott is his worst enemy, his own worst enemy, even though he thinks his own worst enemy is Victor. I really think that Phyllis is the same way. I think Phyllis is her own worst enemy because she should have left this whole situation with Victoria alone. She shouldn't have touched it. But instead, she has to go and she has to nudge Victoria and Benjamin together and get her fingers all up in this, her fingerprints all up in this. When Billy finds out that Phyllis was involved, and not only that, but she's involved and kind of in cahoots with Jack, he's not going to be happy with her. In fact, he's probably going to be livid, and it's going to cause cracks in the foundation of their relationship, which is otherwise fine. I mean, like, I don't think that Billy is necessarily jealous of what's going on with Ben and Victoria in the way that Phyllis's insecurity thinks that he is. Like, I just think that Billy is showing some concern over Victoria, but I think it's maybe just that he sees her acting a little bit different and that he's concerned about her, and just, I mean, it's probably weird for him. He knows and likes and works with every day this regimented, predictable Victoria. And now all of a sudden, here she is, she's letting loose, she's seeming different, and even though, you know, he doesn't know why any of that's going on. He doesn't know that, you know, she's got this head thing going on. But I think that it's one thing to accept that your ex is your ex and that you're not together anymore and you work together and you see each other every day. Like, fitting that into your head space is probably difficult enough on its own, but it's like a whole nother thing to accept that your ex is moving on and evolving and maybe even becoming a whole new, cooler person. Victoria had to deal with that when Billy started dating Phyllis, and now it's just Billy's turn to deal with that with Victoria. Before it went live, Abby takes Zack to meet Victor to talk about his new dating app, and I loved Victor's take on the whole dating app thing, saying, even if he was just playing devil's advocate, he was making a comment like, how are people really gonna find love just hunched over their devices all the time? I thought that was kind of cute and probably what someone like Victor would think about this new technology. But right before Zack leaves Victor's office, Victor pulls him aside and basically gives him the gist that he better be good to Abby or else he'll have him to deal with, and then he gives him a have a good day. Have a good day. That's how you know you're getting the Victor Newman light threat. He says have a good day at the end of it. So Zack's app does go live to huge success, and again this week we see him take a mystery phone call that is highly suspect. And this week though, the difference is we see a mystery woman on the other end of that call. Now, I don't know who it is. I'm assuming that this is the woman who roped Crystal into the forced prostitution, but I don't know if it's somebody new to town or if this is somebody that we already know. Is it someone who is already in Genoa City? Is it someone like from the past who could be coming back that we might know? I immediately, of course, thought it was Sheila, since she's on Bold and the Beautiful right now, but it doesn't quite seem Sheila's speed to rope young girls into prostitution. That doesn't quite seem like her brand of villainy. Also, it clearly was not the actress. But I can't imagine who else it would be. Do you guys have any theories or ideas on who the mystery woman is? You can leave me a comment this week, let me know. The storyline does end up picking up some speed though, as surprise, Tessa also gets a phone call from Crystal, and we learn that Crystal is Tessa's sister. Now at first I thought, oh, this makes sense. Tessa and Crystal were both escapees from this sex ring, and Crystal was somehow left behind, or like they both were teen runaways and they got maybe they both maybe got pulled into this ring and then got separated on different paths and prostituted out separately and weren't able to like connect back to each other. But then, I mean, Crystal has Tessa's cell phone, and also Tessa did reveal that she did reveal herself as someone who ran away from home, but more importantly, Tessa seemed genuinely surprised when she learned that Crystal was, that this has happened to her, that her sister was prostituting. So I don't know. I don't know if Tessa is also a victim of the sex ring. That's the only thing I have left to figure out. But she's gonna have some kind of connection to it. I just don't know what. Crystal only manages to talk to Tessa for a few seconds, so we don't really get any context of the relationship, just that they're sisters. And then they get cut off, and Crystal's trying to get back a hold of Tessa, but Tessa is not available because she's busy recording the first track for her new album. Now, I felt bad for Tessa because she is obviously distracted. She is wanting to wait for a phone call from her sister, but at the same time, she's obligated to record this track for her new music career. It's very obvious that Tessa's conflicted between wanting to wait to talk to Crystal again and not wanting to let down Devon. There is a lot riding. I mean, there's a lot of money. There's a lot of people and resources that are behind her and this new album, and I think she just doesn't want to disappoint anyone. So since Crystal's not able to get a hold of Tessa while she's in the recording booth, Crystal calls Sharon, tells her where she's at, and Sharon shows up at the hotel where the girl has just finished her job. Ugh. Like, ew. Ew. That's a little too shocking for me. I hated that. And Sharon is like ready to yank Crystal away immediately, like to help her, but the girl hesitates. Here's one thing that I don't understand. I don't understand why Crystal keeps calling Sharon and asking for help and then not immediately taking the help. On more than one occasion, someone has offered her help and she hasn't jumped at it. So, when the girl doesn't run away with Sharon immediately, I think they just lost their window of opportunity to get away, and the pimp shows up at the door, catches them, double ugh. Crystal has to come up with this excuse on the fly, saying that Sharon is the wife of the John who she was just with and is requesting a threesome with an underage girl. Like, I feel icky. Yeah, even watching that scene and talking about it, like it has Subway Jared written all over it. It's just, I feel dirty or something. It was awkward. And the pimp, I hate having to say these things. The pimp whisks Crystal away, and you know, Sharon's left alone in this seedy, probably greasy hotel room. It was really risky for Sharon. The whole thing was really risky for her. She should never have gone there alone. That was incredibly unsafe, and I completely agreed with Cricket scolding her for doing this all on her own. Sharon should have involved the cops. That's their job. They can do it secretly. I felt like, Sharon, this is bad for you. Later, Sharon goes back to her house. She's talking over the situation with Mariah, and that's when Tessa overhears and connects the dots that the prostitute that Sharon is talking about is Crystal, is her sister. So Tessa, more distracted and disoriented, I think, than ever, goes to Zack for help, of all people. She wants Zack to use his contacts in Chicago to help her. So there we go, right there. We have proof positive that Zack is involved in all of this, as if we didn't already know. Zack comes up with this excuse saying that when he left Chicago, he left all of that stuff behind him. He's not about to use his contacts to open up that can of worms again, which on the surface makes sense. But then he turns around, and that's when he makes his phone call to the mystery woman and tells her to launch the app. I feel like I'm missing something in the mystery here, that I haven't completely connected the dots. Like, I thought that Tessa and Zack ran in the same circles. So wouldn't the show have, I don't know, I wonder if wouldn't Tessa know the same people as Zack if they were in cahoots, or if they knew each other in some way? It's just another reason that makes me think that Y&R is maybe going to try to whitewash away Tessa's shady past. I mean, for crying out loud, they can't make her a lesbian and a villain. Have you ever seen two people try so hard to pretend that a kiss never happened? Everything's fine, we're friends, right? But Mariah is flashing back, thinking about that kiss with Tessa way more than she's ever flashed back and thought about anything that's ever happened with Devon. So, Mariah confides in Tessa this week that she said the L word to Devon, and that Devon did not return her I love you. I thought that was interesting, because I guess we cut right at the end of Mariah declaring her love, and it didn't dawn on me that Devon didn't say it back. So I thought that was absolutely fascinating. And of course, Tessa's response is to comfort her friend and say, he didn't say that he loved you, but he clearly does. Even though I totally told you 2 weeks ago that I noticed he's still in love with his ex-wife and probably isn't all that into you. Oh, but he totally does love you, I bet. Please. The other thing that I thought was kind of surprising and excellent was the fact that Devon picked up on the fact that it was an awkward moment. Like, Mariah said she loves him. He didn't say it back. Like, it was intentional on Devon's part. I mean, you know that it has got to be a problem for your relationship. And I really respected and appreciated Devon for facing it head on. I mean, they get back to Genoa City. She hasn't mentioned it to him, but he knows that it's like there. It's like an elephant in the room. And he just talks to Mariah and says, look, I didn't say that I love you back because I'm not ready to say that word. I thought that was really mature and really cool of him. He says, of course, but. I mean, I'm not ready to say I love you, but I'm still totally committed to you. Gee, just what every girl wants to hear. Oh, Lord. I think that Mariah is clearly still in the process of trying to stomp down these feelings for Tessa. How many flashbacks did we see this week? How many longing looks did we see this week? It's emerging. Her feelings are emerging. It wasn't a kiss that happened and then it was like, nah, that's not for me. No. Mariah's into it. And she's falling in love with Tessa. The longing looks, the concern for her. When Tessa was in the recording booth, obviously upset about something. And there's a question of let's have somebody go in and talk to her. Did you see how Mariah wanted to rush in there to help Tessa and she had to defer to Noah to let him go in and comfort her? I mean, it's so obvious. The little triangle that's developing here. And then, oh my gosh, I just about died when Noah he goes and asks Sharon if Tessa can move in with her and Mariah. Because things are just too awkward with Tessa living at the ranch with Victor when Nikki's not even living there. So it just makes sense. I mean, you know, Tessa's still trying to save money. She can't get her own apartment. I'm really not ready for her to move in with me. But how about she goes and lives with Sharon and her best friend Mariah, where there's totally nothing going on between them. That's a great idea. I mean, that's just so convenient, right? So convenient. I imagine that there's going to be more comforting. There's going to be more confiding. And there's going to be more couch kissing, possibly bedroom kissing. The thing is, though, and I wonder what your guys' take on this is. Your guys', not a word. Do you think that Tessa is interested in Mariah? Because, of course, I'm trying to read into the situation, and it's very obvious where Mariah's heart is right now, and head. But I really didn't pick up on a reciprocation from Tessa. I don't think Tessa is there right now. I don't know if it's because she's overwhelmed with her music career, which is so understandable to me. This is so big to her with her. She's got like the weight of the world on her shoulders, because also we have this whole issue with her being worried about her sister. There's a lot for Tessa to take in right now. So I don't know if she is just distracted and really trying to focus on the direction she thought that her life was going to take and not wanting to be diverted with this Mariah thing, or is the relationship possibly headed into an unrequited love direction? Is poor Mariah destined to be banished to the friend zone forever if Hilary finds out about Mariah and Tessa? Oh my, have you guys had that thought yet? Like, oh, is Hilary gonna like walk in and see a little something happening between Mariah and Tessa? That would be explosive. I thought that a really, really nice moment this week happened between Devon and Hilary. Devon runs into Hilary at the athletic club, and she mentions her acting jobs, thinking I'm going to tell him before he finds out from somebody else, that she's assuming that Devon is going to be upset about her taking this job from Lily, just the same way that Jordan was upset about it, even though not for nothing, Lily wasn't as upset about Hilary getting this job as Jordan was, but Devon actually congratulates her and embraces her and it tells her that she's done a good job and he's proud of her. I mean, it's so clear that Devon still cares very much for Hilary and wants what's best for her. I just wish that Hilary would do the mature thing and just tell Devon that she wants him back. I wish she would just tell Devon, hey, I'm not over you. I know that I've done some questionable things, but I intend to win you back. I wish she would just say that to him instead of getting into these fights with Mariah and then secretly like telling Mariah that she's gonna get Devon back and you know he still loves me and wants me, or doing something underhanded to their relationship. I just wish that Hilary would be more forthright about her feelings instead of always doing this underhanded thing. And on the same note, I also wish that Hilary and Jordan would stop trying to pretend that their relationship is working. If Hilary and Jordan are all about just sex, then enjoy the sex and stop pretending that there's a relationship there. And if you're clearly both in love with other people, so it's just not working, and I wish they would stop trying to make it work. A note about Jordan. Victor specifically said that he is hiring a photographer to come to Newman Enterprises to take these executive headshots. And in my head, I thought, well, since Victor knows Hilary now, I wonder if Jordan is the photographer that he hired, and then that would put Jordan into some scenes with Scott and Abby, possibly even Zack, and I keep thinking that this whole sex ring is going to bring to light Jordan's involvement somehow. Kane begs Jack again for a job. He honestly had kind of a great idea. Kane offers Jack a pretty sweet deal. Hey, I've got a lot of knowledge about Brash and Sassy. You could hire me independently. I don't even have to work for Jabot. It doesn't have to be a conflict of interest for you. I'll just be an independent consultant. But Jack, I guess, doesn't even really need Kane, although he didn't know it at this point in the story. He's working the Benjamin Hoffman angle. He has decided that that's going to be his in. It makes no sense. I don't know why he wouldn't just work with Kane. Kane has the brilliant idea that he is going to sell his car in order to replenish the twins' tuition money. Hey, why didn't you just sell the car to pay off the cameraman's blackmail if that's what you were gonna do ultimately? Kane, he's more isolated than ever. He's more sad than ever. Charlie doesn't even want to look at him. I thought there was an interesting moment between Charlie and Juliet this week where, you know, now that he knows she's the other woman, he tells her, look, if you're drowning in the pool, I'll pull you out. That's my job. But other than that, don't expect me to be nice. Like, if I see you on the street, you know, and you're on fire, I don't think I would throw a bucket of water on you. If you're drowning, I'll save you, but that's about it. I thought that was kind of a funny little scene. But Kane also runs into Juliet at the athletic club. And he decides that he's going to tell her about everything and the blackmail and the cameraman and everything that went on in LA with the hockey footage. He figures she's going to hear about it sooner or later, so he might as well tell her, basically, it's pretty much my fault that you lost your job and I set this whole chain of events into motion, only that's not exactly what Kane said. He still tried to blame her. He still tried to say, you know, if you would have just told me that you were going to use that footage, then I could have prevented all this. Whatever, Kane. When are you going to start taking some responsibility for your actions? You did this to yourself. You. Stop trying to blame Jesse. Stop trying to blame Victoria. Stop trying to blame Juliet. You did this. Don't even let me get all up in his face. Keep him away from me because I'll tell him how it is. Lily, though, Oh, she's just sitting there in all of this sadness. She told her family this week about her kicking Cain out. They all agreed that that was the right thing to do. And I think, though, now the problem is that it's opened up a window of opportunity for Juliet, and Juliet sees it. I think she is hoping that she's going to be able to snag Cain. She shows him the sonogram. She was waiting. She was carrying that around in her bag, hoping that she would run into him. She shows him the sonogram, shows him compassion. She could be angry with him for what happened with her losing her job, but she realizes that's not going to benefit me, so she decides to give him some affection, some compassion where no one else in the world apparently really is. There's absolutely no way, though, that Cain is just going to jump into Juliet's arms just because she's carrying this child. But that doesn't mean that Lily won't think that he has. Lily's got so much going on in her mind right now, and I thought it was really super cool of Abby to bring over a bottle of wine and just like have girl talk. I don't remember them ever being friends in the past, but I thought it was great that she found out that Lily was having a hard time, so she's just like, I'm gonna bring over a bottle of wine and let Lily get it out, and it was great. And another aspect of Lily's misery that I really hadn't considered was the fact that she always wanted to carry her husband's child, but she couldn't. So, like, that adds a whole extra level of insecurity for her. She had to use a surrogate to have the twins because she can't have children on her own. And she, I think, always regretted the fact that she wasn't able to carry his child. And now along comes Juliet, pregnant in one night, in one shot. I mean, that's, you gotta admit, that's pretty good timing. I just still don't know about Juliet. I mean, hey, even Hilary doesn't trust her. Like, when Hilary thinks you're shady, you got a problem. I'm not lying. I'm just accentuating the positive. I love this new attitude of Victoria's. It was Victoria who said that line last week. I thought it was kind of genius. I'm not lying. I'm just accentuating the positive. It was a good line there. And let's see, quite a few of you guys guessed it right. It was Henry, Tony, Heather, Beatrice, Becca, Tanya, and Ambreen. Well done. I have another quote for you this week if you'd like to guess who said it. Freedom, baby, freedom. It was kind of a fun moment. I also, on my iPod this week, the song "Freedom" by George Michael came up on my in my list of shuffles. Such a good song. Oh, that song is so good. And then I heard this line and I thought, that's it. That's our quote for the week. Freedom, baby, freedom. If you think you know who said it, you can go to yrchat.com and leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. I think Y&R Chat is getting longer and longer. Are these too long for anybody? I mean, it takes me an hour to get through my thoughts, and then I got so many good comments this week that I just have to read. I mean, I wish I could get to everybody. I mean, but like every single comment was like just so good. I also always forget to say that I kind of collect comments. Usually I'm done collecting comments by like 8 or 9 Central Time on Saturday. So if you leave me a comment or a voice message or anything after that time, I'll still hear it. I just won't hear it or read it before I do the Y&R Chat. Like, I am literally working around baby nap time constantly. I mean, I squeeze all of Y&R Chat into nap time, and I squeeze my spare moments while she's sleeping into collating the comments and all of that stuff. And I just, like, you know, I've got a little bit of time on Saturday morning, and I've got a little bit of time on Sunday morning, and then it's go time. Plus, it's like I'm trying to condense 5 hours of show into a 1 hour time block, and more I'm having trouble doing it, especially with good comments like this. Superplex left me a Hilary rant at yrchat.com. Now, I am always so Hilary pro that I want to make sure I'm representing the Hilary con, considering I'm constantly being conned by Hilary. So I'm going to give you a lengthy, but I think Hilary, people who are not loving Hilary will appreciate. Superplex says, I thought the dialogue between Hawkman and Hilary was very interesting. The writers appear to confirm a prevailing image circulating in the blogosphere that Hilary, despite all of her flaws, was at the very least an authentic individual as opposed to the phonies that populate the confines of Genoa City. Hilary, not a phony? Really? Was Hilary not being a phony when she feigned innocence behind Mariah falling flat on her face on television? Was Hilary not being a phony when she told Devon and Kane that she had nothing to do with Juliet's lawsuit when she was the principal instigator behind the litigation? Was she not being a phony when she attempted to express empathy with Lily behind her family problems when in fact she was reveling in her misery and even pulled the rug out of Lily's attempt to lift herself from financial predicament? Furthermore, how are we to describe Hilary's sincerity behind her relationship with Jordan? Real love or a rebound relationship designed to instill jealousy in Devon? How about the image she wishes to project for her national audience? Wisconsin's version of Oprah Winfrey or a self-centered, vengeful prima donna? The idea of Hilary being more real than those phonies she exposes on her television show strikes me as an example of that old adage of the pot calling the kettle black. Boom! I'll leave it at that. Well said. Okay, so Liz at yrchat.com commented that it was just so funny and so true to character when Mariah and Tessa fished out crumpled up bills from the bottom of their purses to pay for their drinks. They both have a laid back hippie vibe, and if they had pulled out neat crisp bills from their wallets, it just wouldn't have been true to their personalities. I did like that scene too, Liz. It was just it did fit their sort of laid-back hippie vibe, right? That they just keep their money in a wad at the bottom of their purse. That whole sequence had kind of a two broke girls vibe about it. I kept thinking, Mariah, your boyfriend owns the restaurant. He owns the whole building. You can't just say, can you put it on Devon's tab? Gary left me a voicemail about the developing Mariah and Tessa relationship saying, think of what a compelling dynamic this story is going to be. Fragile Tessa torn to smithereens by the sexual trafficking with everybody fighting to save her, everybody wanting to help rescue her, yet in the end, it's not really her Prince Charming that will save her. Or is her Prince Charming Mariah? It just has so many levels, and if it's done sensitively, it actually could be really beautiful. I did get a lot of positive comments on the Mariah and Tessa story. It was definitely stressing me out, but the fact is, I continue to see negative comments coming in through the website, and it just really wears on you. I mean, you know, like, I wake up in the morning and all of a sudden I'm trying to start my day, and then all of a sudden there's just like a flood of negativity, people calling this slutty, and my kids are watching the show, and now it's just, you know, it wears on you. I can only imagine what Cameron Grimes is really going through. I mean, just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. I mean, even just I am not allowing those negative comments to filter through to you. But if you want to go read them, I mean, you don't have to look very far. Actually, I saw an article on CBS Soaps in Depth website about the controversy and the fact that Cameron Grimes is kind of going through it right now. From the CBS Soaps in Depth website, here's a quote. When one fan tweeted to Cameron Grimes that once the writers made her character a lesbian, her time on the soap would come to an end, she quipped back, quote, I managed to last 20 years and one death. I'll take my chances. So, and that's probably very minor of the things that she's seeing right now. I will say, by the way, though, the majority of Y&R chatters have kept it positive, and even those of you who disagreed, I really respect that you kept it still legitimate. You know, I mean, you either said, you know what, I don't like the storyline, but I'm not going to keep, I'm not going to stop watching. I'll just fast forward ignored it and I'll just watch the other scenes. Or, you know, you guys kept your criticism specifically to what Mariah is potentially doing to Noah. Tony at yrchat.com says, on Noah, there's really no one else in his age group. Abby and Mariah are related. He's too old for the teens. Phyllis? No. I can't even think of any character off screen that's Noah's age. That is a really good point. I mean, we should still love and appreciate the character of Noah throughout this. And you do make a good point. They even said this week the man has bad experience with women, and he just has not had a whole lot of good luck. And Tessa is kind of the only other person who he's not related to and that's in his age bracket on the show that we could even pair him with. I'm all for seeing Noah with this underground expansion, as long as we don't got to see these other dark, dank sets. I like that Noah is working on a project for himself. I mean, there's other types of stories we can tell besides a romance for him, but it is a really good point that there just is nobody else for him. Let's see, Leslie at yrchat.com says, I thought that the one man that Mariah had chemistry with was Daniel. My imagination goes wild with the possibility of those two. One being Tessa's heart being broken when Mariah finds that Daniel is her true love. Perhaps Tessa and Daniel are acquainted from the past. You know, I never understood why Y&R can't make it work with Daniel, because he added such a cool vibe to the show. I don't know, they brought him back for just a little bit, that, you know, that, I don't know, probably last year, and I really loved that too. They did have a cool vibe. I was definitely feeling that. I wish they would just bring back that actor for good, or at least for a longer stint. Let's see. Daisy on Facebook says, I still think that Tessa was involved in some shady business deal, especially since she knows this new tech service guy that works with and is dating Abby. I think that guy is shady. Maybe the sex traffickers knew Crystal was Tessa's sister. Crystal could have left an abusive home looking for her sister and kept her as payback or payment for Tessa leaving them. I don't know. I just have a feeling that Y&R is trying to soften Tessa. She's got a lot of scenes of like these big doughy eyes. You know, I agree that they were pointing her in a direction of being shady in the past, but I don't know. I just think anything's possible, of course, but part of me thinks all of the shady was prior to them realizing they wanted to do a love story between Tessa and Mariah. That's just me, though. Oh, I got a lot of comments about our poll question for last week, Nikki and Jack. The majority of the votes said, yes, let's have Nikki and Jack try again with a relationship, but the majority of the comments were saying, no, we don't want Nikki and Jack to have a relationship again. It never works. I like this comment from Melissa at yrchat.com saying, ugh, how many times are we going to see them try to put Nikki with another guy, Jack, Paul, etc., only to not have it work out and to have her go back to Victor? Why can't Nikki start this new peaceful phase of her life as a single independent woman? Why does she always have to be with a man? I'd love to see Nikki on her own, do her own thing, and stop relying on relationships to make her happy. Yes. Once again, there are other types of stories we can tell outside of romances. Remember when Nikki like started that spa MVP? I mean, something like that would be really great for her. She's just, Melody Thomas Scott is such a gem, and like we have all of these other women who are in these powerful business positions, and Nikki she's kind of like, she just always is sort of just a wife. She's always just Victor's wife. They don't ever, and even when she's not being Victor's wife, she's only being Victor's ex-wife. So I don't know why they don't develop a career or an ambition for her. It seemed like she was kind of going there with the music, and now that's being pulled back. Yeah, I agree. Marianne at yrchat.com says they did Jack and Nikki within the last 5 years, and just as the attempt with Paul and Nikki within the last 10 years, it fizzled. Yes, good point. They just can't seem to make it work with anyone and Nikki, really. Amanda at yrchat.com says Nikki, as usual, is running to Jack to get at Victor playing the victim. Nikki doesn't yet know, though, that Jack is doing the exact same thing that she's pissed at Victor for, going after her child. Jack going after Victoria and Brash and Sassy for revenge on Billy and Phyllis is what will blow up their chances this time around. Once again, it comes out that Victoria is sick with an illness. Nikki's going to be pissed at Jack. Victor will come in to save Brash and Sassy for Vicky, and the whole Newman family will reunite in Vicky's illness and recovery. I kind of think so too. I kind of wonder too if Victoria's illness is going to ultimately be the uniter. Yeah, and and I'm thinking, back to this these other comments. It's just like Jack just shot himself in the foot once again. Then again, Nikki's forgiven Victor for a whole lot of stuff. It's probably small potatoes. What Jack's doing. Okay, let's see here. Ellen at yrchat.com says, why would Jack turn down Cain for a job? Because he doesn't want to upset Nikki by going after Victoria and then immediately turn around and scheme with Ben Hockman? How very Victor of you, Jack. Gary at yrchat.com had an interesting take on the Nikki and Victor romance. Gary says, all Nikki and Victor truly share is the love and nostalgia that they have for one another. Nikki can share bright and shiny happiness with Jack Abbott, but it's the writers who will always do her in to protect the Young and the Restless legendary status of their long-standing signature couple, which is of the utmost importance to them. Nikki and Victor can't let go because Y&R Politics has too much invested in their legend. That right there is probably the truth. Kara at yrchat.com says, I'm sure Nikki will go back to the mustache at some point like she always does, but I can certainly see a remarriage to Jack here, even if it only lasts a hot minute. I mean, we've definitely got some pro Nikki and Jack comments. Marion at yrchat.com says, bring on Jack and Nikki, and even if it means more drama ahead, that's what soaps are all about, aren't they? I also liked Marion was calling from Martinique, which is a French Caribbean island, and she was mentioning that the live or like the TV airing that's airing in Martinique is just now getting to Nick and Sharon's last wedding, where Phyllis came back from her coma. Isn't it so interesting that outside of the U.S. and Canada, so all of the other viewing areas are behind. I mean, how far behind is that? That's got to have been a year ago. That's got to have been like 2 years ago. I'm so curious to know why. What is the reason that Y&R airs behind so far in so many other countries? Is it a syndication deal? Like, is it a thing with like a monetary contract kind of deal? If anybody knows, I'm just so curious about that. But it would be kind of neat to be able to look, watch TV and see back episodes. That is one thing that is certainly missing from Y&R is the ability to watch back episodes. Anna left me a voicemail with a little bit of a prediction. Anna says, now that Nick has said he loves Chelsea and they're so happy, and now that Nick and Victor are feuding, is Victor going to tell Nick that Christian isn't his and that Chelsea knew it all along? Could that be part of Victor's payback? Probably. That, you know what the signal of that is? Nick and Chelsea being so happy. Something's got to come along to blow that out of the water. Diana at yrchat.com says, I like the Victor showing Nick who's boss. It's definitely in character as to how Victor would react to Nick's attitude toward him. I know Victor deserves to be told off for all of the bad things he does. At the same time, Nick blames Victor for Adam's death, but I can't help remembering what a terrible brother Nick was to Adam while he was alive. Victor is now making a point to Nick to say that he shouldn't be able to reap the rewards of having a very wealthy father that he claims he wants nothing to do with. It becomes hypocritical. You can't have your cake and eat it too, Nick. But a side note, I still love Nick and think he's extremely hot. Shelly at yrchat.com says, Sharon, why did you stop at the beard? The hair, the hair, the hair. Oh, Sharon, please make your next sex romp include a pair of scissors for the hair on Scott's head, not his face. Oh, that's funny. You know what? I kind of like Scott's hair, to be honest. I mean, he's got those curly locks. I don't know. He's probably been working on that hair. Is so curly. He's probably been working on that hair for years. I don't think we're gonna get that. A beard will grow back relatively quickly, but I got a feeling that hair is gonna stay. Consuela at yrchat.com says, why is it that when Jack is being devilish and sneaky, I find it endearing, but when Victor's being sneaky, it gets under my skin? I don't know. I just enjoy when Jack is being a little devil. I think it brings something to his character, but with Victor, on the other hand, it's just too much. I think, Consuela, it's almost because of like the tone. Like you said, it's like Jack with a little smile on his face and a little smirk, he'll do something devilish, but it's not like epically bad in the way that Victor does things that are epically bad, you know? I mean, can you even see in any universe Jack disowning his son? I mean, he's like barely disowning Billy for sleeping with his wife. There's just something about Jack's sins that are a little more lighthearted in a way. Oh, Gary, another comment that I thought was really good. Gary left me a voicemail that says, don't you agree that Graham is beautifully cast for this part? Which is really saying a lot since we don't even know who the character is. He's very enigmatic. We might cast him as completely unlikable or a potential villain, but his level of control or not control is kind of unclear, and I think that he has a perfect demeanor to be whoever he is. I really like this actor. I could see him having some long-term potential. Like there is something about this actor's delivery where it's just, he's very tight, you know, he's very proper. He enunciates all of his words so perfectly, and he never really lets loose. And you're right, we could go any number of different ways with this guy. And I think if Y&R really wanted to get it there and develop around him, I can see from this actor that he would be someone who could pull off both, you know, being good or being bad, either way, or maybe even at the same time. Sandra had a couple of predictions of us for the second half of the year. Sandra predicts that Jack and Nikki are going to become fully involved, even making plans to marry for the third time, but Victoria falls ill, has a split personality disorder or a tumor from whatever's damaged her brain when she fell. This will reunite Victor and Nikki. It seems like everybody kind of is getting that vibe. Not to mention Victoria and Billy at Victoria's bedside. Jack and Phyllis will commiserate, realizing that they're on the outside looking in and fall into bed, once again igniting their own love for each other. The whole sex trafficking scandal comes to a head. Zack is found out to be the leader and arrested. Abby is shocked and heartbroken. Scott tries to comfort Abby, and they become close and fall into bed. Abby is mortified when she finds out she's pregnant with Zack's baby. Scott agrees to say that the baby is his to spare Abby further humiliation. They play house in order to maintain the ruse, but then genuinely fall in love. You know, it's kind of funny because I was thinking to myself earlier this week, like, what would be my ideal couples, you know, because I'm like, if Nikki and Victor together, then I feel like Jack and Phyllis had, you know, have the chemistry, and Billy and Victoria, that all kind of makes sense. But I guess the one hitch is that I really like Phyllis and Billy. That would be the one hitch. And also Jamie at yrchat.com says, Sandra, I love your sweeps predictions. I love the legacy couples reuniting theory. Sure, mix it up with the youngins and supporting cast, but bring back our faves. I wish the show would find a way to create drama without constant couple shuffling. Come on, Y&R. Give us some scheming couples who work together. Business wars, teen scene drama, mystery illnesses, a juicy crime-driven story for Paul and Christine after we wrap up the sex trafficking story. Dr. Sharon as the Newtown shrink, Ian Ward and Patty Williams craziness, Adam Newman back from the dead. Again, maybe some Sheila Carter shenanigans, stalking stories, and sibling rivalries are fun too. Yeah, there's just so many ways that Y&R can go. I think that's a good point, that the drama doesn't always have to be in the couples shuffling. I would say that I like our legacy couples too, but there's still a lot of different ways they can go. It doesn't really matter which way they go. I'll be here. Okay, everybody, that takes me I guess finally, to the end of our Y&R chat for the week, but it's your turn now. You can go to yrchat.com to leave me your comments about the shows. If you got some predictions, whatever you want to say, I am all ears. From there, you can also find Facebook and YouTube, or you can call my voicemail 309-588-4569. I love hearing from you, so don't be shy. Okay, I hope everybody has a good week, and I will see you next time. Bye!